Hey guys, God bless y'all. I'm here with my youth pastor, Estiven, and we're going to be asking him some questions. Alright, so before we get into it, tell us about yourself, your name, your age, and everything.
Yeah, so I'm Estiven. I'm 27 years old. I have approximately 8 years of following Jesus.
Okay, so quick question. How was your life growing up? Were you always a Christian?
I wasn't. My mom was. My mom was a Christian, and she would always push me to do what was right. Like a lot of you guys maybe have parents that push you to do right. But no, I didn't personally subscribe to being a Christian.
Yeah. And do you feel like that affected you in some sort of way?
It definitely did. One of the things I always remember though is before going to school, my mom would always be praying. And when I would enter her bedroom, it's funny, she would always like pull me over to want to pray with her. But I wouldn't want to pray because I would, like many of you guys maybe have praying parents, I would say, you're just wasting your time. There's no God.
Okay, and so how was your life looking like before Jesus?
Yeah, so before Jesus, I remember after high school, my high school graduation, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And one of my cousins, she gave me an envelope. It had a Bible verse, but I didn't open it because of the Bible verse. I opened it because she said there's money in there. So opening that envelope, there is a Bible verse in Jeremiah 29:11 that says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future." And that gave me some peace because I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And, at that time, all I ever knew what to do was go out with my friends, party, drink. I would do edibles. And my life looked very depressing before I came to the feet of Jesus. I always say this, after every party, sleeping around, I would go home and I would look at the ceiling and I would say, there's got to be more to life than this. And there was. I just didn't know it. I remember one of the turning points in my life was when I went to UC Davis. One of my friends had invited me. It was getting close to summer, but this was on spring break of 2018. She told me to come over because in spring break, you know how it is. Yeah. You just do whatever you want. You party, So that day we pre-gamed. I went to a corrido concert, and then I remember going to a frat party with some friends. But this is what actually marked me for some time. When I was already going out, a girl grabbed my hand that I had been with the whole night. And when she grabbed my hand, we were getting ready to go to her apartment. When I hear a voice that tells me, don't go, you're going to make the worst decision of your life. When I hear that, I stop and I look at her and I say, hey, did you hear that? And she says, hear what? So at that point, I'm like, I had smoked and I had drank, but it was already wearing off. But that kind of marked me. It impacted me.
And do you feel like you hearing that voice, did that like push you into believing into God, or how did that really change you?
The voice had a little bit to do with it because I remember going to a church after a weekend of being in Vegas. And if you're not familiar with a guy in the Bible named Samson, the Bible says that he had a big calling, yet he missed out on it because of the lifestyle and the life decisions that he made. Specifically, he was going out with prostitutes. And actually that weekend I was like, at a strip club with prostitutes. So it's kind of like the word was kind of getting to me.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people watching that, that they're trying to change their life, trying to get closer with God. And what's a piece of advice you would give to the youth that are trying to get closer to God, but they feel like they can't change?
God is not a God that's religious. He's a God of relationship. So I want to give you a piece of advice very quickly. If you know you're living a lifestyle that doesn't please him, or maybe you're confused and maybe you don't even know if there is a God, or maybe you're doubtful that there is a God, I'll tell you, how about you put it to a test? Just like in anything that you test, you could test God and you can see if he's real or not. And a piece of advice I want to give you is be sincere and be genuine. Open up your heart and you're going to see whether God is real or not. And I didn't believe in him, now I do. What changed? I was real and I was sincere. So I just want to leave them with that.
Okay, so thank you for taking time out of your day to be here and helping me film this video, and just want to thank you again for everything.
Yeah. I wasn't always like this, so the Holy Ghost came into my life.